ceiling.
All right. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. I'm sorry. We got to talking and I believe we're live. So here we
Right.
go. Hi, everyone, and welcome. You're watching Borderline with Diana KOUPRINA. And this is my guest, Kelley Shelton. And we're going to discuss art, life, and how we actually connected over a book called Adventures of PK. And you can join and watch the show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Roku TV, Fire TV, Apple TV, YouTube, Instagram, NCG Television Network, and jessfm.ca. Um, so welcome, and I'm sorry, I didn't even realize we were live. We were so deep in our own conversation. Again, Kelley, hi. I'm so happy to connect with you. Welcome. I believe this is our first time actually seeing each other.
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't want to say in person, but face to face. And we've been
Yes.
working on this project for almost 6 months now. You illustrating my children's book. So
Yes.
introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What brings you to art and what inspires you in life?
My name's Kelley Shelton. I'm 47, and what brings me to art? I think being born is what brought me to art.
Oh, that's
Just
beautiful.
it's something that I always loved. I guess is I didn't make a decision and say, "Hey, this is what I like." It's kind of like something I look back and realize that's what I'm drawn to. And my earliest memory was my mother teaching me to read before I went to school. And she was teaching me to read and spell the word duck and fish. And she drew a little duck and she drew a little fish. And I was far more interested in drawing the duck and fish than I was about spelling it or reading it. And it was just always been my way of, I guess, going into my own little world.
Did you ever take classes or have you always been self-taught?
Self-taught.
That's
Always been
impressive.
self-taught. Yes, I've always been self-taught. And what I say by self-taught, it isn't so much just, just always sitting around aimlessly scribbling around, but I paid attention and do certain discipline practices and stuff like that. But
Oh, I
basically
understand. My
self-taught.
daughter is 9 and she goes on YouTube and she follows the tutorials of how to draw faces and the circles and all the
Yeah.
structure. I'm like, oh, you blow my mind, child. I
I
personally can't draw.
actually
I can draw a tree, maybe,
I
maybe.
actually did not do well in art class in school.
Was it the structure? The structure gets me.
Yes, it was just too much structure. It was way too much structure. And I don't want to say that we were focusing on things that I naturally had the ability to do. But I mean, as I look back, I think that's what it was. And I just kind of lost the interest in it, I guess, when it comes to, the school aspect of it.
But it's amazing that you are able to create all that and you taught yourself. Can you share one of your paintings? I know you had one in the back that I loved with the boat. Was it
Yeah, I certainly will. The one with the boat. This one here, this actually
I love the sunset and just the coloring and the reflection, just everything about it. What meaning does it have to you?
all right. The title of this painting is called First Sail. I've been welding and doing boat lifts for almost the last decade. And about 2 years ago, I started getting tennis elbow, and it was affecting me. It was kind of affecting the way I worked and everything else like that. And it just got me to thinking, like, you know what? I have given myself to everything except the one thing that I love to do, and that's artwork. And I didn't want to let that go. And so about a year ago, my tennis elbow miraculously went away. And I said, you know what? I'm going to pursue this art full on. I'm not going to ever look back. And First Sail was the painting that I did to kind of symbolize that, I guess, because with the sky represents fear of doing something new, leaving stable, dry ground, and setting sail to do something for the first time that you've never done. But also, the colors in the sky show the passion of doing
Yeah,
something that you love to
I
do.
see the passion. And
Yeah, and so
I really truly love it. I find you so inspirational,
well,
and I
thank
love
you.
our connection, and especially with our book. I didn't expect to connect with an illustrator. I thought the book that I had written, the initial children's book that I had written, Adventures of the Girl with Pink Hair, made it, and that was it. That was as far as it was gonna go, and I was done searching for illustrators. It was such a random coincidence that Kevin, who I randomly also met on social media, in one of my groups that I also randomly created, and he contacted me and said, "You need to see this art. I have a friend who's an artist, and you should see his art." And I said, "Okay." And he sent me a strawberry you had drawn. And
Yes.
it was the most beautiful red, luscious, colorful strawberry. I just wanted to eat it. And I knew
Thank
that
you.
I had to bring this book back, and we had to work together, and it would have to be a unique, different take on it. But once I spoke to you and I heard your Southern drawl, which
Oh
I,
yeah, Florida boy.
the Gone with the Wind girl of Southern fantasies, it was like, ah, yes, he's gonna get this girl.
Yes, Paulina, she is an interesting young lady. Yes,
So
she is.
share with everybody what connected you, what inspired you about the story, and just a
Because,
little background of how you see it. I like how you explain it better than I do, and
well,
we talked about it earlier, just how you see
well,
the
to
story,
me, it's
how
because
you feel connected to it.
it's more than a little kid's story. I can see Paulina in myself. And a lot of people that I know, not that I'm looking to judge or anything, but Paulina, the way she screams, she just didn't know how to handle what was going on inside of her. And as adults, how many of us just make choices just because we don't know how to deal with the emotions that we have going on right now? And so we make these choices just because we don't know what else to do. And so even though this is a little child that's learning how to sing, there's a real good lesson in that just acting out of my emotions, however they may be at the time, isn't always the right thing to do right there. And she's cute as a button.
Well, I love how you see her, and for anyone that's interested, follow us on Facebook, Diana Caprina, Kelley Shelton, and his art is available all over my page, his page, and the unique illustrations of Paulina. I love how you see her. I personally don't even know what I visualized when I was writing about her. I was so focused on golden locks, pink hair, and a loud voice. And I think as a child, I dreamt of um pink hair, maybe blue, and a loud voice that I had inside, but I wasn't allowed to express it because it was Soviet Union, and we weren't children weren't really allowed to have a voice. We just had to do what we were told, and we had to be quiet when we were be quiet. And
Yes,
when it came
yes,
to
yes.
art, if we didn't draw a certain way, or if I drew with my left hand, and the teacher would take a ruler and smack me with it, and to smack the leftiness out of me. And that really, after that, I didn't really draw. I can draw a tree, maybe. My daughter says I draw nice leaves. That's about it.
Sleeves aren't that easy to draw. I gotta tell you that.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
me, the creation of Paulina, at first I used to think, oh, this is this I was so inspired by my child that I wrote this book. And the deeper I dug within myself, I realized this is not about her. This is my own inner desires and how I wish maybe a magical cat appeared to me and was like, dance your problems away and just sing and everything will be fine. And to be honest about that, I did have that a little bit of an experience when I was in private school. I did a musical Sound of Music and I had a little bit of that, but I didn't have a lead, and because I was a perfectionist, that broke my heart, and I gave up acting forever. That was
Yes. Yes, perfectionism would do that. That's definitely one thing I'm
perfectionism.
learning to get
It's
over. If I don't deal with my perfectionism, I'll never complete a piece of work.
yes.
It,
That's
it's just that
as a
simple.
writer, I oh, it's a tough. I love editing. I do. I love editing boards. I love playing, but the more I dig deep into it, I might never actually accomplish anything because I will tear it up and nothing will seem that extraordinary to me, and then I can
Yes.
in it. So for me, it's really important as a writer to almost have rosy colored glasses and just seek happiness and light, because if I start picturing myself and thinking negatively, then everything just all
Yes.
creation just goes out the window.
Yes. I think I can say this at least for art. I believe that we have to be mindful to form our own voice. I know I went through a period where I would find myself wanting to mimic this artist. I want to paint like this. But the truth is, that's their paintings right there. What is my voice? What do I have to say? If someone wants a perfect photographic picture of this, they will take a photograph of that. What I'm interested in is putting Kelley's filter on this.
Yes.
How do I see this? This is what Kelley is saying. And I believe what we're going to accomplish with this book, it is what is Diana speaking through her writing and what is Kelley speaking through his illustrations.
Yes.
And what we're hoping to accomplish by that is to bring back the one-on-one unity with child and parent. We live in a world that's so busy right now. It is so easy just to say, okay, this is for the kids, this is for the adults. They're entertained with this while we do this. And hopefully, what we'll be able to do through illustrations that kids will enjoy, a story that kids will enjoy, but also something that adults can take away from it. Because I believe we need that really
Yes,
bad.
we do. And when I wrote it, it was the initial story. When I wrote it, it was pandemic. I believe it was COVID. It was the beginning of it. And my daughter was home from preschool, and I was just getting frustrated with the whining and
Yes.
the needing and the crying, and she herself is very strong-willed and a perfectionist and all of,
Mm.
and I just didn't know. And it did come to my mind and I did test it out with her, although it doesn't always work. I would say, if you're mad, go sing about it. Just go sing a song and just dance it off. Just something. I can't. And that's how the story really came about, because I was out of options and I didn't want to be like my parents, and I don't blame them for this. Again, it was cultural. It was all of the Soviet Union culture was very authoritarian.
Okay.
Um, so it was just cultural, where you just listen to what you're told and you don't question, and you don't um rebel and you just do for the best of the community and you don't ask what your voice is.
Mhm.
And through that, I lost my voice. Just like kind of like the Little Mermaid. I just it left one day, and I
Yeah.
didn't know how to find it. I'm still finding it. Sometimes I wonder if how I sound in my head is actually what's coming out of my mouth. Sometimes I notice not really, and it's it's quite unique to really center yourself and get that spiritual voice that wants to speak, but because there were so many blocks, it's hard to unleash it. I'm not sure if you found the same difficulties in your life.
Yeah, a little different details, yes, but
Oh,
yeah,
a little different.
yeah, different details, but I completely understand that. I
So
completely
yeah,
understand.
so discovering it's almost as though I have a spirit voice when I write that speaks through me.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to do now is bring it out vocally, which is a very unique process. And I don't think I would have even gotten to this point if it wasn't for this little book that I wrote during COVID.
Yeah, that's one of the awesome things about being a creator. You don't have to worry about what is supposed to.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? What is this person expecting of this? What is this? And you know, we don't have to deal with those things. It's always that freedom in that.
So I'm just curious, what is your personal creative process? How do you tap into your spirit voice or visual? It's I assume it's different. I'm always curious what it's like for an artist, an illustrator, how you see it and then how you bring it out and paint it. For me,
Oh,
I find it easier than
I actually imagine it. Now, I won't sit here and tell you that I'm on point every day. Because it takes a lot of focus sometimes, but usually it starts with a lot of pacing, walking back and forth and walking back and forth. And then I just look and I envision what I want on the paper and just go from there. And now, depending on what kind of medium you're working in, like if it's pencil, it's just you go from there. With an oil painting, it's a little bit different. With the oil painting, I'll sometimes start out with a pencil sketch. And as a matter of fact, I'm in the middle of one that I'm on day one of this. If you got a minute for me to show you, and I'll tell
oh,
you a couple of things
I'd
that's
love to
going
see it.
on with this. All right. This particular one's going to be my bald eagle.
Oh, I love that.
All right, and now in this one right here, sometimes I'll prime my canvas to get rid of the white. I didn't do that on this one. I just did a quick pencil sketch, dropped my background in,
Hmm.
and then I came in and dropped in where my darkest spots are going to be. And then what I'll do after that is I'll start with my mid tones, do a layer of mid tones. And then before I go on the highlights, I'll double check my dark spots. Now there's a lot of color mixing and color matching that's going on between that. But basically, the mid tones,
Hmm.
check my darks, and then the final thing is going to be the highlights on there. And then after you got to finish painting. Now, since we are actually creating a book together, I'll
Yes.
go over a little bit of what's required when it comes to creating a character from scratch. Okay. It's a lot of sketching that goes on.
And we will need to take a slight break. So when we get back, um, Kelly will talk about his sketching. He will continue to talk about his art, and we will continue to try to find the purpose to it all. And again, our connection and love for discovering our voices. Um, Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Diana, and this is Borderline. And my special guest is Kelley Shelton. we are discussing art and the purpose and meaning of art. Kelley, can you tell us a little bit more about sketching, and we'll continue on from where we left off?
Yes. It all starts with an idea in the sketchbook. Simple little sketches. Ideas and ideas until I come up with this.
I love that.
And then after
And you,
looking at
what did you use for that paint for the Paulina PK?
this is oil on canvas
That's
board.
oil on canvas. That is
Yes,
wonderful.
this is oil on canvas board, and this is to get initially what she looks like, and to get some basic colors and some ideas to come up with. And then what happens is the more you look at a character, the more you want that character to speak to you and have a voice every time you look at her. And the more that you look at her and realize that you're not hearing that voice, then you go on to something different and then you upgrade. Okay. So
Yeah.
now, after this, then we say to ourselves, okay, how do I want Paulina to read to the public? Once she's fully presented, how do we want her to read? And so after that, I start with my sketch on the final canvas.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did is I've
Sketch
used
we
the prime.
posted earlier, right? That's the sketch you were working on a little bit earlier. We posted
Yes,
on Facebook. Yes.
yes, yes, that
So
is
anyone
Paulina.
wants to see closer, I know it's hard to see, but if you really want to get a really, yeah, there it is. Ah, there it is.
Yes, Paulina and her cat.
And you can watch how he sketched it actually on Facebook, just on Kelley Shelton or Diana Caprino, either one of us. We have that video of him creating that sketch, which is so wonderful and beautiful. And I honestly love seeing this book really come to life. For me, is leaves me a little bit speechless. I don't even know what to say. It warms my heart because someone actually really believes in it and
Oh,
has
yeah.
the same vision as I do. And I find that such a soulful connection. Um,
Yes, I wish I had the complete one to show everyone right now, but this
that's
I
a,
guess I'm going to
we'll
have to
have
wait.
more interviews. We're just getting started, and we still have a whole year of finishing this book. And
Yes,
I know the results will be amazing.
yes, she will be beautiful.
Yes. And
I really believe in this.
resonates with everybody as much as it has resonated with us.
Yes, yes, yes. I believe in this. And I want to throw this in there. I don't see Paulina as just the adventures of PK. I see Paulina and her first adventure was that. That's what I see. That's
Yes,
just her first adventure.
yes, it is. It's the first discovery. Actually,
Yes,
that is
yes.
exactly how I saw it when I wrote the book. And I know I remember even talking to you about this and say, oh, I don't know. Maybe it shouldn't be adventures. Maybe it should just be PK. The girl with pink
Yes.
hair discovers her voice and
Yes.
life moves on. And then you said, no, we need the adventure because this is just the beginning.
It's just the beginning.
Just
I want the world to know who PK is.
you inspire me now to do better and be
The
better.
world should the world should not just be stuck with the powder puff girls, okay? The world
It-
needs a Paulina.
Bring a little bit of PK into this. Yes,
Yes, yes, yes. We need more than the Teletubbies and those things like that. We need a PK.
we do.
We
I do
definitely do.
wonder, what town she will live in. I do want to change that a little bit. In the beginning of the book, when I was actually writing it, for some reason in my head, I had a British accent,
Yeah.
and I was kind of going, "Oh, we live in a little hobbit shire. We're not hobbits. We're just in the shire." And that just that's what
Hey, well, it worked for the time.
I think it worked for the time, but for us,
Yes.
I think that is another thing that as creators, something to think about, because she doesn't necessarily need to live in a little village.
Yeah.
Um, she can live in a city, but
Yeah.
then we have bunnies. So I don't know. I mean, this is where I get very picky. You will need to draw me back to reality.
I would like to think her personality is going to radiate regardless of where she lives.
Okay,
But
I
I'd
like
like to think that.
I
I'd
like.
like to think that. Yes.
I hope others agree with us.
Yes. It's about the personality.
So I want to know, what was it like to just quit your job to focus on this? Were you scared?
Scary.
How did you feel going into you just
Scary.
sat your
I thought about it for 6 months. And I like to say that I made a calculated decision, you know. But it was a little scary at first, and now it's not as scary. I try not to look back because at the end of the day, I'm getting older, and it's just not what I love to do. And I would rather go all in and fail than not to never try in the first place. That's just me.
that really resonates with me, and I say that to myself every
Right.
single day when I sit down to write. And working on my memoir right now, I sit down and I say, it's okay if this is bad. It's okay if I fail. At least I'm speaking my truth. I'm giving my authenticity. Bringing something to life, and this is just my purpose. I can't imagine doing anything else at the end.
Yeah, nothing else makes sense to me now. Nothing else makes sense. It's just nothing else makes sense to me.
And
And don't get me wrong, I liked what I did for a living. I liked it, but I love art. And
are
I
yes,
yes, I had to choose. Am I going to stay with something that I like because it's what I'm supposed to do, or am I going to follow my heart?
you broke out of the box.
Yes, yes.
And that
Like I
is
said,
scary
it was.
to do. That is extremely scary to do.
It is, and then and you know the fight isn't over yet, but
Yep.
yeah, it was tough. It was tough to do because it's more like once you get used to something and kind of have your place doing something in the regular routine and you're used to it, you know what to expect.
Yes. talking with Kelley about art, writing, creating, and following your passion. As Kelley has done, he's gave up his previous career to really follow his heart and his love for art. Kelley, you have the floor. You may continue where we left off, although I don't really.
I'm pushing 50. Where did we leave off? Just kidding.
I leave the room. I forget what I left it for. Sometimes my brain. Whew.
Yeah, it happened. Now we were talking about the basically the sacrifice, we'll call it. But I don't really call it a sacrifice because I don't feel like I'm losing anything. I'm feeling like I'm gaining.
Yes.
I'm regaining my sanity back. Um, Not that I was insane,
No, I understand. I perfectly understand what that means.
but I'm actually figuring out things for myself. What makes me tick? What is it exactly that I am after? And there we go back to what exactly is my voice? What is my voice? It's art.
Yes. Yes. I
Yes.
I resonate with everything you say because it is everything I think and I feel when I write. And I tried for a very long time to deny myself that ability. I convinced myself I wasn't good enough. I didn't have the skills. My writing wasn't my poetry, at least, definitely was not close to the Dickinsons. I didn't sound like Jane Austen in my novels, and it was just I was so critical of myself that I completely killed off my beautiful, I like to call it spirit voice because I don't know what else to call it. And I I don't, because I really feel like there's a soul that speaks through me when I write or when I create, and there's a story that the soul needs to tell. And sometimes it's a story of a broken child who lost her voice, and sometimes it's a story of hope and everything in the middle, but somehow it comes from within. It's not
Mm.
something that um I don't even know, it's not something that I even think about. It just comes from within is the best way I can explain it. I don't know if this resonates with you, but if it does.
Yeah, it makes sense. I actually want to piggyback off of that if you don't mind. It's
Yes,
kind
do.
of like, that I believe there's something in the human nature that wants to create, wants to build. I think it's in all of us, whether it's building a business, whether it's building a family, whether it's just I believe it's in the human nature to create. It's in some of us to create with our hands, to create with our minds. We create stories, we do sculptures, we do paintings, we do drawings. Some people are musicians. But I just believe it's just something about the human being that has a desire to create. I can't explain it.
Well,
It's just in us.
I'm gonna take it out from there because what I was thinking when you were saying about um,
Pause there.
society and business almost go hand in hand. We have no way around it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I feel like creators, we're almost like entrepreneurs in that sense because we're continuously creating and we're continuously testing the market with our skills and we're continuously branding ourselves.
Yes.
Noticed what I used to do before is I had a different mask and I thought I had to sound a certain way and be a certain way to be like, to be perceived. And for me right now, what's so important is just to bring out as much authenticity as possible into the universe, into creation, because that's where I'm deeply, my soul is rooted in my own truth. And
Yes.
I need to walk it, speak it, feel it, and write it to ultimately heal from trauma. And we all suffered. I want to say the 90s were really traumatic. I don't know about anyone else, but for me, the 90s were like, whoo, that was tough.
Yeah. I say this to my shame. A lot of my troubles were self-inflicted, but they were still troubles. Okay.
Yes,
You know, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that. Oh, life is funny. You never know where it's going to take you. I'll just put it that way. And I say this to my shame right here. It's nothing that I'm proud of, but I led a lifestyle that costed me almost 10 years of my life.
I feel you.
And yeah, and after I was finished with that, I was faced with a decision. And not to throw the pity part or anything about that, but this has a lot to do with me and how I am today. But in my 20s, I like to run around, party, get in trouble, stuff like that. And then I'm the youngest of three boys. And so when I was 21, I made a decision. I said, I want to stop doing what I'm doing. I want to go move with my brother, my oldest brother. He had himself together. I said, I want to go move with my older brother and get myself together. Well, anyway, he passed away that next day. And that right there, I took that a whole nother way. And then that's when, there comes real bad addiction and this and that. And that ultimately earned me a trip in a gated community. And so after being there all of that time, I'm thinking to myself, when I get out of here, I can do anything I want. I don't have any children. I'm
Mhm.
not married. I don't have any of these things. But anyway, before I got out, my second oldest brother, he was diagnosed with severe dementia. And so once I got out of there, the whole plan changed. It's like, all right, I'm gonna go back home to Maryland. I'm gonna go with mom. I'm gonna help her out with my brother. And that had to be one of the toughest things in the world because he was diagnosed with a terminal sickness. And it's like, I've been in here paying the price for my choices. And now that I got out, how do I say I look forward to living a life of my own when that includes, what I don't want to think about happening to my brother? We lost him in 2015, but yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough one right there because I was put in a position to say, okay, this is what's in front of me now. My brother needs me. My mom needs me to help my brother. But how do I look forward to having a life and building a life that I can only have once things are settled with him and he has a terminal sickness? You understand that little?
Yes, I could.
Yes.
I'm silently nodding, and if we're on radio, people probably can't see me nodding, but I am nodding because a lot of what you say, even from the addiction and losing it,
Yes.
losing it all, I understand it on a very, very deep level, because my choices and ultimately led to everything. And I wonder if I didn't find myself broken, if I would have made the same, if I would have made those choices, I probably wouldn't have. But then would I be here having this conversation with you? That's also questionable because you never, I feel like
Exactly.
maybe
I
I
never
just
would
had
have
to
met my wife or
suffer.
my stepdaughter without that path right there. But would I repeat it all? Absolutely not. I like to say I wish I could have learned another way. But what we're talking about, that brings us right back to Paulina. Listen, when things went down, that was my way of screaming. I've learned to sing now. I've
Yes,
learned to sing. I don't scream anymore. I sing
yes,
now.
yes.
And so, like I said,
Love
that was a
metaphor. I
pretty tough
really,
one.
I
But
love that. I love that metaphor. I just the way you see my work, just oh, it warms my heart so much.
oh yeah, gotta sing for it. Gotta sing now. And like I said, it was tough finding, actually saying, okay, you know what? It's okay to find happiness. You do deserve to be happy still. You
Yes.
do. And like, yeah, that was one of the toughest things. And so I guess, during all of that time, that's when I got into the boat lifts and the welding and everything else like that. And it was just kind of like taking a day at a time, doing what I had to do based
Yeah.
off what was in front of me. But times have changed now. I'm getting older now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always about the money. Like, I love
No,
art.
no, it's
It
well,
helps.
money really
Listen,
helps in life. I will not say it does not. It does make the world go round. I truly do believe that because without money, I have lived without money.
yeah,
It's not a
it's no,
pleasant feeling.
no,
It's a helpless feeling. It's a victimized feeling.
yes,
And you can be stuck in this perpetual cycle and it
yes,
doesn't work. And somehow having some financial stability helps you break through that. But
uh,
it's so hard to do, especially if you're trying to find your voice and find your purpose and you don't have backing and you don't have family. And I can't imagine if I didn't have the support of my family, if I would even be here right now, because probably not.
yes. I have the
I probably
best
might be
family.
in some deportation jail. I'm not sure, but probably.
Yes, I had the best family I could ask for. Yeah, I have lots of support, definitely.
And yeah, and I might have argued with them and I might have been stubborn and I wanted them to truly see me, but addiction I find is selfish, just like
No, extremely.
suicidal tendencies and even depression. All of those are illnesses, but all
Yes,
of them at the same time are illnesses that are extremely brutal and selfish.
yes.
And
They are extremely common also.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. And
and
I think sometimes we just don't know a way out of something.
no,
We just don't know.
and that's the scary part about being in this negative, especially if you have a mind of a perfectionist, especially if you are continuously so hard on yourself.
Mm.
um you're gonna sink, you're gonna sink and you're gonna go lower and lower and lower, and then you won't know a way out because anything happy you'll say, oh, I'm sorry, what's happy. For a long time I didn't even know what happiness felt like. I'm just rediscovering this. I'm rediscovering feelings, actually feeling them, because for a long time I didn't feel anything. So when I used, I actually felt. That was nice. But I felt
Yeah,
this sort of
really.
euphoria, floating sort of fun. I tried to tap into my spirit voice. I couldn't, it was extremely hard. It was barely impossible. And so I just floated. And really starting to feel joy is it's a beautiful feeling. I will admit, as somebody who survived a lot, feelings, I will give anything to continue joy. I will feel the pain. I will allow myself to feel pain as long as I can feel those moments of joy because they're so beautiful when you actually feel them.
Yes, 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 yes. It reminds me of a little picture. Beautiful little illustration about joy and peace. Peace and serenity is what it was. And one image has a bird by the still waters and everything's calm, okay? And on the other hand, you have a raging waterfall, you have all this crazy stuff going on, but you have this dove just sitting in the nest, just as peaceful as possible. I want to be the dove.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. With
Yes.
nothing going on around me, that could signify stagnation.
I feel like I've reached the end of Robert Frost's poem where he says I've taken the road less traveled, and
Mm.
I really have. I took the road less traveled. I took the road nobody would ever take. But I believe a part of me somewhere in my subconscious almost knew that, well, I'm an artist and I need to suffer. That's just that's just how it is. It's a very strange type of thinking, but I feel like somewhere in there it played in my mind, and I would wonder, did I suffer enough? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I did I suffer the same amount as Bukowski or Pushkin or Dostoevsky? I don't
Yeah,
know.
where do we get these ideas from?
I That's the question, right? Who I don't know why I was comparing myself to Shakespeare. I know I'm not Shakespeare, but why do I have to?
But you know what? During Shakespeare's time, he wasn't even Shakespeare, if you get what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
And same goes for some of the greatest artists of our
Yeah.
time, and some of them were just completely insane. Ears getting cut off, and
Oh yeah, Van Gogh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And most of them were works of art themselves. We'll put it that way.
yes, yes,
And
they were.
yes, I don't mean that in a negative way either.
No,
Most of them are just works of art themselves.
yes, that
And
that.
I particularly like Salvador Dali.
Oh,
He
I do
spent
love
the
that.
ye-
Yes,
yes, he spent the year of his life sitting on a rock in front of the Mediterranean Sea.
I for a long time wondered if he had a intense connection with his dreams and if he painted his dreams and the melting clocks and all of that was how he saw reality in his dreams.
Mm, yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I
Yeah,
love the
very
persistence of
recent observation. I was kind of in my awakening going through, oh, well, what if our dreams are really a representation of everything? And what if Dali was just really just painting his dreams? Because it is
mm,
in our dreams, things melt and have weird shapes. And how else
yes,
do you come up with some of that trippy stuff he came up with? Unless he was
yes,
getting high,
yes.
he was too, but again, when it's this tapping into the subconscious, I feel like that's how his art has always spoken to me.
Yeah, he's definitely my favorite surrealist artist. Definitely. Definitely, definitely.
Well, I believe we're actually at heading towards the end of our show. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. If you are just tuning in, this is Borderline. I am Diana. I'm here with my special guest, illustrator, artist, just amazing human soul, everything, Kelley Shelton. And we've been talking about art, spiritual connection, and how our art is a part of our deep, authentic spirit voice that resides, I believe, in every artist, I think, or actually in everybody. It's just the question of how you tap into it. Because religiously, in religion, everywhere, everyone says you have a soul, right? If we have a soul, then it must speak through us somehow, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, I find that it is in my writing, but I think everybody has that creative soulful voice that speaks to them, which obviously Kelley Shelton has a lot of. And I'm just still admiring his art, and I can't be more uh, almost like I want your autograph. Just your studio is beautiful. Everything's beautiful. I really do hope that all your dreams, everything comes true. And I really do hope that we have gold with Adventures of PK.
Yes. But yeah, platinum.
Yes. Yes, we're gonna go. We're gonna do our best. We're gonna try until we've reached it.
Exactly.
Any last minute thank yous, closing statements, thoughts that you might have not said that you wanted to say, anything? This is the floor is yours.
Um, Nothing really other than thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for anyone who's listening. And it's one thing. Always remember. I will always remember. It's a saying, comes from a book I like to read. Um, a living dog is better than a dead lion. As long as there's breath in your lungs, you have a chance to do something.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what your past is. If you're here now, you've made it out of your past and you have a purpose.
Yes.
You may not be
A
able to
purpose.
wake up and say, this is what my purpose is. This is exactly what I'm supposed to do today. But I have found that if I am myself, if I do that one thing that no one in this world can do except me, and that's be me, I'm
Yes.
going to find my way. And I believe that for anybody else. And we have to believe in ourselves. And
Yeah.
if we don't believe in ourselves, believe that somebody else believes in us until we can believe in ourselves.
Yes.
But we have to.
Ourselves. Love, believe, hope, know that your dreams can come true. That's the hardest part, because I loved having dreams, but I never really believed they could come true. That was for me. That
Yes.
that
Yes. And one thing that I that I had to learn to overcome is what happens after that euphoric new love wears off, as we'll call it. Then comes the discipline.
Yes.
Then comes the discipline.
Yes.
And it's, we may feel really, 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 really inspired at the moment. But if we don't follow through, even on the days where we're not feeling inspired, we're not going to really get to where we want to get to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not about how we always feel. It's just not.
Yes.
Sometimes
Thank you, Kelley. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
People who tuned in. I know we threw a lot at you. Hopefully you enjoyed.
It's okay.
I know I enjoyed bonding with you, and this is almost like a face to face for the first time, and I'm so honored that you're illustrating my book, and I see beautiful things for us, but definitely your art, it just speaks for yourself, and I hope people can tune in and just see your studio and just how beautiful it is and all the art behind it. And can you just show again the picture of PK as our closing goodbye? It's beautiful. It's lovely. And follow us on Facebook, Kelley Shelton, Diana KOUPRINA. You can see more of his art in my groups, Let's Connect, Create, Connect, Amplify, and Neurodivergent Superpowers. Again, this is Diana KOUPRINA, and the show is Borderline, aired on Jess TV, and you can view it on Apple TV, Roku TV, and jessfm.ca. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night. Bye.
Bye, everyone.